And don't freak out. It will send you to the Lisa Bialava video, but it is not streaming to it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Great.
Oh, I just said that live to the world. Hello. Hello, world.
I just watched what you just said live in the world. That was great. Anyway, so welcome to another guest artist talk. Today we have Larence Fancelli with us here today. And Larence is an audio engineer from Italy, and he's a dual U.S.-Italian citizen. He has a really good audio studio in Bagno a Ripoli, which is right outside of Florence in Italy. And he also has music on Spotify and YouTube under the pseudonym Mouthwater. He does a bunch of classical recordings, and he's also an electronic music producer. And he's going to walk us through some mixes of vocal tracks in a couple different DAWs today. And so without further ado, I'll turn it over to Larence. Just a quick note for everyone, feel free to toss questions in the chat, both in Zoom and on YouTube. And it'll be interactive throughout the entire thing. So if you have any questions, just toss it up and Shoshana and I will interrupt and ask them. But yeah, Larence, take it away.
Okay, should we get right into it?
Sure, yeah. Sounds good to me.
Okay. Okay, so I received these 3 tracks, audio tracks of this Auld Sang Line. What's it called?
Auld Lang Syne. Yeah, I should say on that one of our participating ensembles actually submitted these tracks. So the Thruple ensemble, that's a participating zFestival ensemble, sang these tracks for us today. So just making sure they get credit for those.
Okay, and so I guess I'm gonna go through a mixing session on Reaper, and then I'm gonna do some more stuff on Logic, maybe some crazy stuff too. We'll see how much time I have. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. And is that working? Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and import the files. Have them in music. Here we go. Import these. And we're going to take a lesson real quick.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of Auld Lang Syne? For Auld Lang Syne, my dear, for Auld Lang.
So we get the idea. It's a 3-piece singing this. It sounds like the tenor voice is actually a woman singing. If I solo that.
He forgot and never brought to mind.
In fact, it's rather weak. But the recordings themselves sound pretty good. I think the main melody line, which is a soprano.
Acquaintance be forgot and never.
Sounds pretty good. It probably has a little bit of room reverb on it, or maybe it's just the room it was recorded in, but that's fine. It's really not that much reverb going on there. So I'm going to go ahead and place this track up top because it's the main vocal.
Should old acquaintance be?
And the first thing I'm gonna do is balance the mix a little.
Should old acquaintance be
Start with
forgot
these two.
and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be
And then add the
forgot
main vocal.
and days of old lang syne? For old lang syne, my dear.
Okay, I think I'm gonna pan the backing vocals a little bit, these harmonies. So maybe 50, 60%. It's always a good idea to mix on speakers because on headphones, the stereo image is more exaggerated since you only hear what is coming from the left channel in your left ear and you only hear the right channel in your right ear, whereas on speakers you hear both speakers with both ears, so the panning differences are less extreme. So
should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne?
okay, I just heard a distortion right here. I don't know if you guys heard that.
Should
that little, it sounds like it was the mic clipping. So one of the softwares I use, it's called Isotope. It's probably the most popular one for doing this kind of thing. It allows you to like zoom in on and clean up audio a lot. It's pretty incredible. So I'm gonna go ahead and open it up. And let's see, where was it? It was somewhere, I think it was around. I'm not sure if you can hear this. Let's see. Maybe. Okay, it's on Zoom output. So can you hear this?
Acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne.
Oh, there it is. I can actually recognize it. It's this thing here. So I'm gonna get rid of it real quick with a spectral repair and isotope. And so now if I play it,
Lang syne.
it goes back here.
Old lang syne, my dear.
Gone.
Old lang syne will take a
Larence, for
Yep.
that, how did you know to use the spectral repair?
Well, mainly from experience, but because it's in these, it's like a little high pitched. Let me undo that a second. It's a high pitched sound. You can hear it, right?
Yeah, could you play again?
Yeah. It's just that little sound, and these high pitched sounds are like really. This software is good at doing. I just have experience with that, and see, it's just super clean. It's harder to take out lower frequency things because it gets mixed up with the fundamental frequencies of the music. And also, this is a pretty clean recording, so it's easier to like see the problem inside of iZotope. So now, once I've done that, I want to overwrite the original file. And at that point, I will go back into the track. It's gone. If I undo it, I think. I guess I can't undo the iZotope, but anyway, it's gone. So next, I think I just want to add some delay because it's really dry at the moment. Actually, instead of delay, I think I'll add some reverb because I normally go straight for delay when I'm mixing a song with a lot of backing tracks, drums, and other instruments. But here, since it's just vocals, I probably will just use the reverb because the delay helps it sit in the mix, but there is no other mix apart from vocals here. So I'm just going to insert a new track, call it reverb, and maybe drag it down here. I will use the reverb. It's a digital algorithmic reverb. So where is it? Reverberate. So, and then I will send these, I'll hit the route here and send the individual tracks to the reverb. To the reverb. And now let's see what that sounds like just right off the bat.
Should old acquaintance be forgot?
Okay, because I'm using the reverb as a send effect, I'm not inserting it on the individual tracks. I think I'm going to just use the wet signal.
Should old acquaintance be forgot?
Okay, maybe make the room a little bigger. I don't know what that sounds like.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind?
Okay, something like that. Dampening is the amount of reflective surfaces in your room. So the less dampening you have, the more it's like kind of like tile or reflective surfaces. I think I want it a little bit more reflective.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never
And I usually cut off a lot of low end with a high pass filter when I use a reverb, because it just gets muddy in the lower mid range and in the low end. But right in this track, there really isn't that much low end at all. So I'm just gonna cut underneath 100, since these vocals at least definitely don't go under 100 hertz. I'm also gonna maybe chop off some high frequencies to make it more realistic, if that's possible.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind?
a little reverb. And I'm not gonna go for compression on this kind of classical music because it sounds good to me the way it is. I wouldn't mess with that. But I might want to EQ a couple of things. Mainly what bothered me was this tenor voice.
Old acquaintance be forgot and never brought.
Sounds like she's singing at the bottom of her range, so I'm gonna kind of try to fix that, or not fix it, but give it a little boost in the lower area.
Old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind. Should old acquaintance be forgot.
And also, it's always better to just EQ without soloing, unlike what I just did, because
should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought
that's
to.
pretty good. Because it doesn't really matter if, you know, if it sounds good on its own. It needs to sound good with everything else. Something else here.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old
There's sort of a like something bothering me up here, I think.
should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be? Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind?
And I'm just going to cut it a little bit.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and
Okay, not a huge difference, but I think it just makes it a little smoother.
should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought.
And then I like to boost the fundamental a little bit. And as far as this alto, let's see.
Be forgot and never brought to mind.
Yeah, this sounds like it was recorded maybe with a dynamic mic, and whereas the other ones might be a condenser, at least in my ears. I'm not sure, but it's missing some high end.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne? For old
Makes it a little brighter.
My dear, for old lang syne.
I'll boost the fundamental here as well a little bit.
Take a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. And here's a hand, my trusty friend, and
should probably listen to the whole thing through just to make sure there's no other thing to clean up.
Take a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. For old lang
So it seems like the only thing I might want to work on is this Zine, this S, sibilant.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should
I think the main culprit is this soprano. So I will add, I'm not sure if there's a de-esser here in Reaper. If not, I'll use this DS Fab Filter. These are pretty cool plugins.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be...
Okay, yeah, it sounds like it also looks like it's taking off 4.5 dB there on the sibilant letters. De-esser is basically a multi-band compressor, which compresses only when it hears certain high frequencies. Helps. And I'd say we're pretty much done here.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old...
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I don't know about you guys. If you have any questions on this one. In theory, the next phase would be mastering, but I usually don't do that because mastering engineers should just like be mastering engineers, and I tend to only do mixes. But if you want to, you know, send it over just for a quick listen and you just want the volume to be at a decent level so you can actually hear it on computer speakers or just like for as a reference, you could insert a limiter at the end of the chain. I don't think Reaper has a limiter. Maybe it's this compressor here. Not sure. I'll just use Fab Filter 1. And I like to turn oversampling on, even though it uses more CPU. And you can hear.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne?
I also take the output and lower it a little just to be safe, and no dithering because I'm not gonna take it to 16 bits, which is what you would do if you were printing a CD. And the look ahead, I like to use that so that it might not limit as fast, but it won't distort. Also, I'm not going to be limiting very much here, just a few extra dB, so it's more listenable. And
should old acquaintance and days of old lang syne.
okay, so there it is. Next step would be to export it. Got all your settings here. And I think, unless you have any questions, we could move to Logic. What do you think, Peter?
Yeah. Anybody have any questions on specifics in Reaper?
I think it just crashed, by the way.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So Reaper comes. So I'm just getting started with working with dolls and stuff. All my
Okay.
experience before this year was like Audacity. So I just downloaded Reaper about a few weeks ago. It does have a lot of like built-in plugins. Like I saw, like it has
Yeah.
but I saw that like for the de-esser, for example, you needed to get an external thing. Like, what do you think? Basically, what is Reaper lacking in plugins? What are some of the things I might need to invest some dollars into if I want to have a more complete
Okay, well,
mix?
it's not my main DAW, but yeah, I couldn't really find a de-esser and a limiter. I'm not sure if the compressor can actually be set to limiter. But I mean, it has most most plugins that you would need. You can like pretty much do almost anything with it. But you know, if you get into the plugin game, you're gonna, you could go down a rabbit hole. I would just like see if it's missing anything that you would need, and then go for some third-party plugin company. I like the Fab Filter, but Waves is also popular. I'm not using those very much nowadays. Yeah, it's crashing. Well, this is fine.
That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it has most. I wouldn't buy anything just to start off.
Mhm.
I would just see if you're missing anything and just sort of use what it has.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure that the Reaper compressor can act as a limiter. I don't know if there's de-essing ability in it, but
okay. Yeah, I didn't check what we could check real quick. Let's see. So it can compress and limit.
yeah, I haven't done it in a while, but if I remember correctly, I believe it has that control.
So compress, attack, release. Because to DS, it would need to be a multi-band compressor, and I don't really see that in here. No, maybe it's it has some other name. Like, what is cast? No, cast is broadcast. Okay. Maybe XComp. Okay, this is maybe a more sophisticated compressor. It's got more parameters, but it does not. I don't think it can do. Peter, you've used it as a de-esser?
This is calling back 2 years, but I believe
Right.
I think what you have open right here is a multi-band compressor. I think the 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh yeah,
functions
you're
those different
right.
bands.
Yeah, it is a multi-band. So yeah, so there you go. If you want to compress, if you want to use it, you're right. I didn't see those bands up there. Yeah. So like if you want to use it as a de-esser, you would just maybe go for this band here between. You would move it up towards maybe 4 to 8, and this would be your de-esser frequency. Yep. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it has practically everything you need.
And then is there a way to use just a normal compressor as a limiter, or do you need a specific limiter to do that?
No, it's just that like a specific, like a custom, like not a custom made, a limiter that's made to be a limiter only has a lot more parameters that can help you get like a louder sound without distorting. Whereas with a compressor, to turn it into a limiter, like literally what you need to do is turn it up to turn the ratio up. When it's above 20:1, it becomes a limiter. So that's how you create a limiter out of a compressor, but it might be lacking some options.
Could you talk just a little bit about the mastering process and like why you limit? I know you say you don't do it that much, but just to give people a picture.
Well, yeah, I don't do it that much because I do mixing, and once you've mixed the track, you kind of at the end of the mix you sort of lose perspective. So in mastering, what the mastering engineer is trying to do is trying to fix any problems that may arise in mixing. And also he tries to make it louder, and it's hard to make it loud without losing the low end. There's a bunch of techniques that mastering engineers use, which I'm not even that familiar with. And so I prefer not to. I prefer to have some like a professional that does only that do it, because they do it. They do maybe, I don't know, 300 masters a year, and so just experience makes you a lot better in that realm. In fact, the most famous mastering engineers are all like above 50 years old, even though your hearing doesn't improve at that age, but just experience helps a lot.
Cool, thanks. Any other questions on Reaper?
I have a question that is not a Reaper specific question, so I don't know if it should wait or.
Nah, go for it.
Okay. Things like I don't know, if you've got something that's in a room that has a particular reverb or
Mm-hmm.
tuning issues that arise from like separate tracks.
Oh yeah, I was going to address the tuning in the Logic, because Logic
okay,
has its
well,
own
then I'll let
tuning
you
system.
do that then.
Yeah. But as far as reverb, if you have like one track that has been recorded with reverb or room, natural room ambience, and one that hasn't, one thing you can do is try to put a reverb on the other track that is dry to sort of match the room that the other one was recorded in, and then maybe even add another reverb to sort of make it sound like it was done together, was recorded together.
Right.
There are plugins that can reduce reverb, but they're usually not. They create some artifacts if you push them too hard. So I prefer not to use them.
Thanks.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, great. Let's go on to Logic.
Okay, let's go into Logic. Okay, in Logic. So let me import the files again. I can actually just... Okay, here we go. These are the originals. Oh, cool thing in Logic, you can just change the project sample rate, whereas in Pro Tools, for example, you just have to create a new session. You can also drag and drop them, which is what I usually do. So drag and drop. And the tenor file. Okay. So Logic has its own tuning system built in, which is really cool. There are other softwares like Melodyne, which are amazing, and Auto-Tune and all that, but Logic just has it built in, and it works pretty well. So the first thing you have to do is, well, first of all, let me adjust the levels for these tracks.
Should
Maybe do
all
the same kind of panning I did in Reaper. Oh, and I haven't talked about gain staging, which actually is important. Basically, if you use hardware emulation plugins, they expect a minus 18 dB level coming at them. And if you look at this track, for example,
should old acquaintance be forgot and now
it's peaking at minus 11. And so what that means, when you place a plugin, which is emulation plugin, it's a little, it might clip internally inside of that plugin, and if you do that multiplied by however many tracks you have, you could get like a subtle distortion, which it's not what you want. So one way to get around that is not to just turn the volume down here, because the plugin is after, it comes before the fader, so that wouldn't make a difference. So what you do normally when you have a track that is a little too loud, it's not that much, it's not that bad, but I like to put in the gain plugin, and other DAWs have the same kind of plugins, might be called trim. Here it's called gain, so I'll turn this one down by maybe 6. Doesn't have to be exactly minus 18, but if you see it now,
should old acquaintance be forgot and never
and
brought.
also minus 18 is a good starting point so that you don't end up too loud and your stereo mix bus clips. It's just a good starting point. This one, I remember it was,
Old acquaintance
it's about right,
be
and the tenor is a little low.
forgot and never brought to mind. Should old acquaintance be forgot and
Minus 26,
days
okay.
of old lang
So I might want to trim it up a little. With the gain, maybe plus 6.
old acquaintance be forgot.
And then you can start mixing from there. It's always a good idea to do this.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind.
Okay, now,
Lawrence, sorry, quick question.
yeah,
In that gain staging, if
Yeah.
you had not panned already, would you have select mono instead of the stereo edition of the gain plugin?
I selected stereo because these are stereo files. If I had not panned, it would still be a stereo file. So they're stereo files because, I mean, I think they're actually just mono files that are doubled, like left and right. Is left and right are exactly the same, it looks like. So yeah, when you export these kind of files and send them out, you could just send a single mono file. It'll just save space. But otherwise, it's just select. What was the option here that you were asking for? Was it, did it say gain? Oh, dual mono. I think stereo means that it's linked. And dual mono means that left and right would be independent. You can like change the gain on the left and on the right channel differently.
Gotcha. Thank you.
So that's why I chose stereo. Yeah.
Should old acquaintance.
Okay, so I was going to show you the pitch correction, and it seems like they were sung pretty well, but there are a couple of things that could be improved. So you hit this flex, and then you go on flex pitch, and you do that for each. Oh, it has to analyze it. Okay, here we go. So this is actually showing you, it's a little dark. Not sure if I can make this lighter, but you can see how the notes, these are the notes, and you can adjust the pitch drift. So I'll be extreme, pretty crazy. Ooh. So that's adjusting the drift. Actually, I'll just undo. Okay. You can move it up. Ooh. Okay, that's pretty bad, but you can do pretty extreme transformations here. And the drift on the right side, and then you have the formant, which makes it sound kind of like either chipmunky without changing the pitch though, which is cool for sound design. Or you can make it sound like a deeper voice without changing the pitch. It's a little weird, but it's cool. And then we have the vibrato and the gain. So I would just normally, you can like go crazy and look at every single note and try to fix every, like this one is like off by 5 cents, which is practically nothing. So I wouldn't really change notes which don't bother me just by listening to them. Sometimes I look at them and then I'll change them, but probably shouldn't do that. So let's play it and let's see if there's something that's a little bit off.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance
Ooh,
be
wait, there's something here.
old acquaintance?
This one might be, is it off? Okay, it's a little sharp. This one is a little flat. But it's vibrato, so you can't really tell. That doesn't bother me, but this one a little bit. It does sound a little sharp. So I might not go right down to 0 because I don't want to destroy the natural intention, but sounds a little better. Something weird, maybe down here too. Oh, this one is sharp too. Don't have to go down all the way. Maybe that was what was bothering me. And
old acquaintance be forgot, and days of old lang syne.
okay, this low tenor here. This is also sharp.
Sein.
And you can also take away the vibrato. We can see how that sounds just for fun.
Sein.
Okay, pretty strange.
Auld Lang Syne.
So no, let's undo that. And yeah, okay. So I'm not going to go through the entire song doing this because it's pretty tedious. But I think we could move on, and maybe I can try to do something a little crazier if you guys want.
I'm all down for crazy.
Okay. Maybe crazy is not the right word. Okay, so I need to I'm going to try to put a beat behind this, even though it was not recorded to a click, which actually just like 2 years ago, you couldn't do this. You had to do it by hand, and it took forever. Now, Logic has this really cool function. I'm going to make a new session. Close and don't save. Okay, I'm just going to import. I'm just going to import the main vocal, the soprano, melody. Oh, whoops. First thing I need to do is actually go on the tempo and click adapt. Now, if I import, maybe if I import it from here, and it will analyze. And as you can see, as it wasn't recorded to a click, it basically slows down and speeds up. And it just mapped that. And if you put the metronome on up here, you can actually hear.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should
See, it slows down a lot here.
acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang.
So it's not perfect, but it sort of approximates it. To make it perfect, you have to go in manually, and let's see. Go in here into Smart Tempo, and you have to check, make sure these markers are on the right spot on your audio file.
Should old acquaintance be
See here.
be forgot and never brought.
See that.
Never.
You can move the marker, you can do other things too, like move the whole selection.
Never brought.
That's the beat.
Never brought to. Brought to mind. Should
This is actually takes a little bit. Where are we?
acquaintance be forgot, and
Okay, something is strange here. Let's see.
should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to
Okay, that. Doing good so far.
mind, should old acquaintance be forgot.
Okay, let me see something. Where does it go off?
And never brought to mind, should old acquaintance be for. Should old,
That really slows down there.
should old acquaintance. Should old acquaintance. Should old. Should old.
Maybe that goes there.
Should old acquaintance be forgot? Be forgot? Be forgot? And it
Okay, well, this is going to take a while, so I think I'm just going to open a file that I prepared because I knew I was going to get stuck here. So basically, what I did in the next file that I'm going to open is place all these markers so the tempo map, so it actually matches, like the downbeat actually matches the tempo map. And then
should old acquaintance be forgot
let's say,
and never brought to mind?
so let's say this part here, I will basically, in the next file, what I'll do, I'll just delete the tempo changes and make it like that, and see, it won't slow down or speed up anymore.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind?
Okay, so it doesn't slow down or speed up anymore. And that's what I did in this file here. I believe this is it. Okay. And so the whoops. Okay, let me delete this extra stuff that I did. So now I am not allowed. See, these were all the tempo changes that I flattened out just because I wanted the beat to be consistent. And so wait, multiple. So if I want to make it slower, I need to use a tempo track, which is here. So the original speed was about this fast.
Old acquaintance be forgot and never
So Logic automatically time stretched the parts that were slower or faster, and it just made it at a constant BPM. So now what I want to do is speed it up sort of in a brutal way and just, I don't know, 118, that's what it was at. Okay. Okay.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never...
Okay, sounds pretty funny. The vibrato is kind of weird, but I'm going to start adding some other instruments on top of this. For example, I could add a drummer track. Drummer track is cool in Logic when you have no more ideas for percussion and drum parts, and this will create ideas for you, kind of. So I want electronic EDM. Let's see what that sounds like. Why did the volume go down?
Acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne.
Okay, there we go.
Old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind. Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne. Old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind. Should old acquaintance be forgot.
See, I haven't gained stage and I'm already running into problems, so... Oh no, I have, okay. So why is this, let me do that again. Why was that so low? Drummer.
And days of old. Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of old.
Okay. There we go.
Old lang syne.
Where has the recording button gone? Yeah. Hold on, let me revert to saves. So these are all empty. Oh.
Old acquaintance be forgot. Old acquaintance be forgot and never brought.
Not sure why it's so low. What has happened here? Let's try to add another instrument. It will be, let's try a loop from Apple. One of these toppers. Just put it in there, and these loops are automatically time stretch by logic so that they just snap into time.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and
Okay, this track here is playing low for some reason. If I add it again.
never brought to mind?
Nope. Okay, so I'll add maybe a drum beat, like or Berlin sounds good usually. Okay. Copy that over. Oops. See how that sounds?
Old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind. Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne.
There we go. So I can loop it now.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne? Should
Okay, let's add some chords now. Let's see. I believe it is in F, I think. Let's look at it. Yeah, that's the C is the dominant, F is the fundamental. So I think, can I just play chords? Let's see, track. Let's see. There's a bit of latency, but I'll try to do it anyway. So I guess it's F.
should old acquaintance
Next chord would be, I believe it was C. Okay. Try to record that real quick. Okay, so I got the chord progression down, I think.
should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought
Do that again.
to should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old
Okay, just gonna edit that in here. Yeah, everything is late because there's latency, but that's okay. I can just move it back. Actually, I'll just quantize it there. Bam. This is unquantizable. Not a huge fan of quantizing, but for the purpose of this sort of EDM-ish kind of thing, it's fine.
old acquaintance
Let me turn off record because that turns the volume down.
old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind?
Sounds like there's some sort of
Old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance
sure. It sounds like it might be some sort of compression going on with Zoom. Let's see.
Old acquaintance he forgot and never brought to mind. Should old acquaintance he forgot and days of old lang syne.
Okay, let's see. I want to turn this into an arpeggiator. So arpeggiator would be somewhere in here. Let's see, synthesizers are here. It's here. No. Plucked. Nope. Arpeggiator, here it is. No, not acoustic. How about this?
Old
There we go.
acquaintance he forgot and never brought to mind. Should old acquaintance he forgot. Old acquaintance he forgot and never brought to mind. Should old acquaintance he forgot and days of old lang syne.
Okay, and how about some bass? Why not? Let's see, bass. Let's go with synthesizer bass.
Old acquaintance he forgot and never.
Just record that real quick.
Should old acquaintance.
Soon.
Should old acquaintance he forgot and never brought to mind. Should old acquaintance. Old acquaintance he forgot and never brought to mind. Should old acquaintance he forgot and days of old lang syne. Old acquaintance he forgot and never brought to mind. Should old acquaintance be.
Okay, now the bass needs to be quantized. Probably because it's late. Quantize it there. There you go. Then I need to copy these. Actually, the final chords, there's a change, I believe.
And days of old lang syne.
The last chord is an F again. So I go in here.
Days of old lang syne.
And there's two chords in this bar.
And days of old.
And which chord is that?
He forgot and days of old.
It's a C, maybe?
Days of
Copy the space over.
Days of all things mine.
Okay. There's something compressing the audio. That's strange. I don't know if it's Zoom.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of all things mine?
Okay. Now I wanted to add another kick drum. Oops. Like that. Just drop it in here. I'll chop off the rest of the loop because I only want the kick. And then, let's see, I can copy it over.
Old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind. Should old acquaintance
Definitely need that kick.
old acquaintance be forgot and never
Okay, then a little dance music trick. Gonna send the kick to a bus, say 10, random bus. Then I will place a compressor on the bass and maybe on the arpeggiator too. I'll just use one of the Logic compressors. Maybe go with FET, which is fast. And select bus 10 on the side chain, and that way,
brought to mind. Should
every time the kick hits, it compresses. And it's already compressing 10 dB, which is pretty good.
old acquaintance be forgot and days of all things mine?
Maybe even more. It could do more.
Old acquaintance be
And if you just listen to the kick and the bass, you can hear how it's sort of pumping. I can exaggerate. I want to turn the gain down a little.
be forgot and never brought to mind. Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of all things
Arpeggiator is dark.
old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind. Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of all things mine? Old acquaintance be forgot.
I can actually do that on the arpeggiator as well. So where's the arpeggiator? Here. Put a compressor on it. Same kind of thing. Side chain 10.
Old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind.
So basically, when the kick comes in, the bass and the arpeggiator get ducked. Their volume goes down, and then it comes right back up, so it makes the kick sound bigger.
Old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind. Should old acquaintance
then a little thing I like to do on almost always is to add a little bit of delay. Even if it's not really audible. Let's see, let me solo it a second.
Should old acquaintance be forgot?
Okay, much lower, like maybe 6%. And I want to cut off some highs. Maybe that's too much. And some lows. So basically, you have this.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to
Which you can hear it if you solo it, but in the mix you can't really hear it.
old acquaintance be forgot and
But it just
never
helps the vocals sit better in the mix. And I learned that after years and years of having the vocals sort of poking out. And then I figured that out, and I almost always use it. And you can also do other effects with delay and reverb, but this is like a go-to.
old acquaintance be forgot.
Okay, so yeah, I can keep going and like make an entire song out of this, but I don't know, it would last pretty long. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Thanks, Lawrence.
You're welcome.
Laura has a question from the chat. Do you normally do this type of production?
Okay, not with this kind of vocal, but yeah, I make I don't really make EDM music. It's more of like electroacoustic. So I use sort of synthesizers and real instruments. I play bass. So yeah, I mean, I kind of do this kind of stuff. Kind of. Yeah, I think you mentioned it. I released an album called Mouthwater. My pseudonym is Mouthwater, and I'm gonna come out with another album probably next year.
We have one technical question,
Yeah.
which is in sidechain effects, what is a bus?
Okay, a bus is basically a path, which you send a signal down. So, for example, I use the kick. The kick is going right now is going to, you can see it here, it's going to the stereo out. So if I solo it, it's just going to the stereo out. But it's also with these sends, you can also send it down, not necessarily to the stereo out. You send it to a bus in this case, which is like an internal path, internal digital path. And you can send that bus if you want. You click on the bus, and if you want, you could send it to stereo out.
acquaintance be forgot.
Or not. You could just like
And never brought
not send it to stereo out and have it go instead into, in this case, the side chain of the compressor that I put on the bass. So where it says side chain here, I pick up that bus. It's like a loose end, and it's going into the compressor so that the compressor reacts only to the signal that is coming into it. Actually, it reacts only when the kick signal is coming into it. It doesn't react to the actual waveform. It affects the waveform, but it reacts to the signal that you sent down the bus. So I hope that was clear.
Yes.
Yeah, does that? Okay. Great. We have a couple requests to explain more about your electroacoustic music, and if you
Okay.
have any finished mixes, I know you normally use Pro Tools, but there was a request to see what a finished mix might look like for you.
Okay. Yep. Sorry about the Pro Tools thing. Let's see if I can. I think I do have some finished mixes. Maybe I can just drop it into Logic so that you guys can hear it on Zoom.
Yeah, to clarify, Lawrence was going to be doing another mix in Pro Tools, but he updated his operating system, and Pro Tools just keeps crashing right now.
Yeah. It's always a bad idea to update.
Wait, on that note, are you like on a Mac?
Yeah, I'm on a Mac.
Okay, yeah, because that might be the whole everything's in 64-bit now thing.
Yeah, but also my previous version of Pro Tools was also in 64-bit. So, and you know.
Oh, weird. Well, then I don't know.
Yeah. Wait. No, yeah, you're right. Yeah, 64-bit. Yeah, it should have already been in 64-bit, I think.
Strange.
Has that changed recently?
That's with Catalina.
Yeah.
So like the newest version, I had to like update a bunch of my software because I did that too.
That's what I did. I installed Catalina, and then Pro Tools wasn't working anymore, so I updated Pro Tools. I got the newer version, and it's still
weird.
It's still crashing.
I have Catalina and Pro Tools, like the newest version, works fine on my computer. Okay. There's some other things that don't, but
yeah, I think I actually need to call Avid and figure out what's going on, because it's an issue. Yeah.
I'm still on Mojave.
Sorry?
I'm still on Mojave.
Okay. Well, don't change it yet.
Yeah, don't change it. Don't do it.
Yeah. So I was looking for my mouthwater music. Let's see, I have a bunch of stuff here. Probably don't have to share the screen anymore, so you don't have to look at all my folders. Let's see. There we go. Okay. So I have my masters here. So you just want me to play any one of my tracks real quick?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay. So,
and if we could see any of that mix in Logic, that would be awesome.
Oh, in Logic.
I don't know if that's possible.
No, I did the mix in Pro Tools actually. Yeah.
That's fine. Hearing the music.
Okay. So I'll drop it into Logic just so. Let's see. Okay. Analyzing. Let's see. So here we go. Oh, wait. Can't hear anything. Let's see, maybe if I share the screen again. Okay, let's see. That should work.
Second chance.
Okay, so yeah, that's the idea. I can't actually sing, so that was me singing, but what I do with my vocals is I record like a sandwich of 15 of them or so, and harmonies too. And then I just like tweak them sort of to perfection with, Logic or Melodyne. And yeah. And then, you can hear, I record a few instruments. I have real bass on there, and electric guitar. And I think the keys were the real Fender Rhodes keyboard. And then drums are sampled, and everything else is sort of like synthesizers or effects.
Great. Does anybody else have any questions? If not, then I think we'll stop the live stream.